What's up, family? Welcome to season 2, episode 17. Sorry I was on a hiatus. It took a while to read more books, study the material I wanted to talk about. And I also have a special guest to start off season 2. Same guest I left off season 1 with.
What's up, everyone? How y'all doing? Thanks for having me back,
Yeah,
man. First episode. It's a pretty big. It's like a season premiere. It's a pretty big spot that you're giving me here, man.
100%, bro. Who I wouldn't give it to anybody else. You know, we always have good conversations, and I hope the viewers take a little grain of salt with them every time they hear us talk about a certain subject. And
Yeah.
today's subject, you mind telling them what today's subject is, if you be so kind?
Yeah, sure. We talk about social media and your ego, kind of how
Yeah,
those two go hand in hand, and or don't go hand in hand. It just depends on how you look at it.
man. Social media brings a whole new spectrum to the word ego, man. I can't tell
It
you
really
enough.
does.
How about we start off from the like addiction, just to start off the fuel.
Oh, the like addiction. What do you mean, like when like you get those reactions from your post and things like that of that nature?
Yeah, so whenever
Just clarify.
people, yeah. So basically, whenever individuals just want to see the more likes, more little hearts on
Hmm.
everything they do, they portray this facade, right? And in the background, they're living not that much of a good life, but in the outside, for likes, for the like purposes, they want to show like, hey, my life's good, my life's perfect, my life's no issues, no nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Most people I mean, just from my experience and what I've seen, there's a great show on Netflix called The Social Dilemma. I don't know if you've seen it, but
I have it.
it's they say a line in there's like social media and the drug industry are the only industries that refer to their consumers as users, right? Like people, social media users, and that's because you get likes. It's a little hit of dopamine. It's like, oh, you get dopamine addicted to these kinds of things, and your brain, it makes you feel good, right? So like you see it. I've seen or heard stories where young kids, and there was a trend going around where it was like pick might delete later, in case they don't get enough likes, they end up deleting it and all that stuff. But usually that all boils down to social media. People just highlight the best parts of their life. They don't actually, it's not like that all the time. And that's how do I say it warps reality, right? That's not real. And then you get people that compare, they say they compare themselves to others. Wow, man, that guy's life is so nice. It's so great. He must be doing amazing things. And the truth is he's not. He's just, he either is creating that opportunity or that highlight, or which is fake, right? Or they're just
Yeah.
highlighting those things that happen every now and then. But yeah, so and it's just attention, really. And I'll share real quick. I've recently deactivated all my social media for other reasons, but there was a time where I realized, and this is just me being after doing some inner work and kind of doing some self-reflecting here. I realized that I was posting things because it was my way of getting attention. I wanted attention from anybody to give it to me, right? Like comments and likes or whatever. Even though at one point I didn't get a lot, which is it's not a big deal, but you got to think, why am I posting this post? What is it that I really want when that person doesn't? Maybe you're expecting a certain someone to react to that post and they don't, and then what happens? Just even more upset. So yeah, it's not a good thing, right? It's
It's not.
well, I don't believe it's a good thing. It
I'm there
ruins
with you, man.
to me. It's just a distraction from your real life, right? Like there's I don't know how to put that, you know. So
It's like, what did you say? It's a matrix, a simulation.
well, yeah, well, yes, in a way, in a sense, right? Because right, what is it? Maybe you can help me out here with this, but we talk about like our perception creates our reality, right? And if we're constantly perceiving other people's lives as great and no, they must be doing awesome or whatever it may be, it warps our perception, which then warps our reality. So it's kind of it's fake. It's not even real. Like social media is not real life.
No, it's not.
So
We
in a sense, yeah, social. I'm not
appreciate that
against it,
input,
but I'm
bro.
just not. Don't want to be part of it anymore.
Well, if you don't mind me asking, since throughout your whole life, what made you decide to end social media now, even including your own podcast? So You care to enlighten us for a little bit?
Oh yeah, yeah. So just to, again, being vulnerable here and sharing, social media allowed me access to a lot of things that, as a man, as a married man, should not have been looking at or creeping on or whatever. It makes me sound really weird, but that's the truth, right? You hear about it all the time where you break up with an ex or you break up with somebody or you catch a significant other looking at exes or other supermodels or fitness models online and liking their picture. You got to think about how much social media causes relationship issues because of why are you talking to this person, why are you so on and so forth. And it just, to be real, it was causing issues in my own life and in my own my own marriage. Nothing serious, not like we're gonna get divorced or anything, but it was enough for me to realize, I was thinking to myself, I was like, after kind of going and again, self reflecting, doing some journaling and kind of meditating on all this stuff, I was like, this is really the only issue we have. And it's a me issue, right? It's not that I was abusing social media, but like my wife would log into my Facebook and I would get a notification, hey, you logged in. Again, that doesn't bother me. I wasn't doing anything wrong this time. But what did bother me was that my wife wouldn't tell me about it, right? She'd be like,
Mhm.
hey, I logged into your Facebook. Just want to let you know. I would see the notification, like, is she going to tell me? And she would never tell me, right? So it was affecting me. And then, of course, when I confronted her about it, it was a very like piece. And then when you think about it, it's like, is this something really worth my marriage? And the answer is no. That was an easy, once I asked myself that question, that was a very, very easy no, it's not. And just for the viewers, just for context, I'm not at home. I'm gone for the next year. So my wife's by herself. And, that separation brings up a lot of, you know, uh, can open some old wounds.
Yeah.
So, what better way to give my wife the sense of security than to delete the one thing that, that seems to bother her the most? And I had to let that go. That was kind of one of those things where social media wasn't that important to me. And even my own podcast, which was,
I know.
it was a project. It was great. I love doing it. I just really lost interest. And, it's just kind of, I'm focusing on other areas of my life right now in the spiritual realm. It was kind of,
Mhm.
you just kind of let it go. Right.
You got to,
Letting
bro.
go of those things that don't serve me. Yeah.
Of course. It's like you're metamorphing into something bigger than your last self. You're becoming
Yes.
more conscious of yourself basically and what things that you do. But thanks
Hmm.
for sharing that, man. And hey, man, just because you cut off your podcast doesn't mean you can't hop on here whenever you want to, all right? You're more than welcome to
Absolutely, dude.
come
I'm
on
always
here.
down.
Yeah. So I know we have good discussions, and honestly, like I told you before, people were asking when is the next episode with you and Joey. I'm like, since you're
Yeah.
overseas up yonder somewhere. So they're like, yeah, hey, let us know. I'm like, all right, will do. And then here we are a couple months later for season 2,
Yeah.
episode 17. But
I
thanks,
appreciate
Joey.
that, man. No, no, thank you, man. You're. I'm gonna tell everyone. Bobby G's hitting me up every day almost. Hey, man, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this. And, I'm kind of like, yeah, yeah, we could finally. But no,
Yeah,
I mean, it's good to be here.
send us proof of life, man. People want to know, is Joey okay? How's he doing? So
I'm here. I'm kicking.
I see, man. Look like you got your jawbones into alignment now, man. You working out or something?
A little bit.
Right on, bro. Hey, man.
This is really hot
Next,
here.
I can imagine. What about clout chasing when posting becomes more about attention than authenticity? Give you a quick example. You see a homeless person, but you want to get the camera on you, showing that you're giving them money or food just for the sake of views, of likes, of hearts, of whatever. When in
Right.
reality, do you really need a camera on you showing that you're giving money, food to a person in need? Maybe if you're doing a commercial about something, but if you're gonna give it to somebody, don't go chasing, I guess, clout. You know? What do you think about that?
Yeah, I don't agree with it. Right. But for the social media sakes, because look at the example here, like Mr. Beast. Everyone knows who Mr. Beast is, right? Like the
Yeah.
guy that would he would order a pizza and give $10,000 to the delivery man, or give a car away, and he'd get millions of views on YouTube. So,
Yep.
yeah, you got to think about the intention behind the actions, right? Like, what is it for? Now, if he was really sincere about that stuff, he would just not videotape it or post it online. That's my take on it. And that goes back to that just attention posting, right? Or rather, maybe cries for help. It's just that's just my take on it. But other people might see it differently, and it's nice to don't get me wrong. At the end of the day, their intention behind the actions, is it great? No, but are their actions still happening? Yes. Is that person that received the gift or received the good intention, right? Did they still get something out of it? Yeah, yeah. So it's like a 50-50 win there, But there's an old saying, right? The road to hell is paved with good intentions, man. A lot of people have good intentions, and then next thing you know, it's not what it was supposed to be.
You know,
As
you,
far as go ahead.
no, I like how you play your devil's advocate, basically saying that, it's 50-50. But we know this about the books that we read, Joey, and here we go again. Laws of human nature and the 48 laws of power. We don't know
Yeah,
what the intentions are, like you said, of that person posting or giving a certain thing to or a person in need, less fortunate than they are. We don't know the intent. What if their
right.
intention was to make twice as much money by giving them a little bit of money that they had, or food, or water, or whatever, man. It's just we don't know the intentions, and I guess you want
Right.
to if you want to play devil's advocate, well, give them the benefit of the doubt. What if they are really a good person? What if they just want to, bring awareness to it? Okay, I'll play that game,
Right.
but do you really have to show it?
Yeah. So
I
that
don't
that
know.
reminds me of something else too, right? And we talk about intention. There's an episode of Friends. Maybe some of your viewers are probably either in that range group to watch Friends, or they're too young to watch Friends, right? They've never
Yeah.
watched Friends before. But there's an episode where one of the characters, Phoebe, she spends the whole episode looking for a good deed that doesn't make her feel good, right? Because the argument was every good deed is inherently selfish, right? Because when you do the good deed, it makes you feel good and gives you that hit of dopamine, right? So and she spends the whole episode trying to figure out how to like do something good for someone without making herself feel good. That makes sense.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so it was very, like I said, the argument was doing good things for people is like sort of like there's a hint of selfishness in there because it makes you feel good, right? Versus like, sacrificing, you're down to your last $10, but you see somebody who needs $10, you need it too. So I think that's the difference between a good deed and a sacrifice, maybe. Got me thinking
Maybe.
just now. But yeah, giving, again, it's the intention and then how you feel about it, I suppose.
Okay.
Oh,
Appreciate that, homie. Another thing I want to bring up is almost everybody that I know that are close to my friends group or um, work with have Instagram. Almost everybody
right.
has Instagram now. Have you ever gotten, when you had social media, a person that has 10,000 plus followers and they have a little verify check and they follow you
Hmm.
for no apparent reason? They just follow you, whether they bake cookies or are restaurant gurus or whatever. And you're like, cool, this person I don't even know is following me. And then you're like, out of good generosity, out of good, I guess, social media etiquette, you follow them back. You don't have to, but I
Right.
mean, usually when a person follows you, you kind of want to, like, who are you? What do you do? Anyway,
Hmm.
so weeks pass, maybe a month or two, and then you lose a follower. Or maybe you don't even think about, like, you weren't even looking at your follower list. It just so happens that you saw it and you're like, wait a minute. Did I do something to offend somebody? Am I walking on
Yeah.
eggshells? And then you notice that that person that followed you with 10,000 plus people unfollowed you, but you're still
Hmm.
following them.
Right.
So it's almost like a bait and switch. Well, look, it's basically for they want to have more followers but less following. Does that make any sense?
Yeah. No, it does. Because it makes it seem like they're more popular than they really are, maybe.
Yes, exactly. And the what do you call it? There's a social media thing, trend or algorithm. So the algorithm makes them feel like, oh man, this guy or this person really knows what they're doing on social media.
Yeah.
So basically their follower count validates how important that person is versus their
Right.
following count. To me,
Right.
man, I'm like, if you're gonna unfollow me, just personal opinion, make sure you unfollow on both sides. Unfollow or block, unfollow or
Hmm.
unfollow.
Right.
I don't need
What?
that. I'm going for a little rant here. I don't need that fake stuff. If you're gonna follow me, follow me. If you're not, then don't. But
Right.
don't follow me just a couple weeks, month down the road. Unfollow me just so you can get your ego boost of followers. Oh, I got another one.
You're right. But I mean, intrinsically, it's all fake, right? So just just it's a little background here. I have my degree in marketing with an emphasis of digital marketing, right? And I happen to know and understand that algorithms and all these things are targeted. Everything is targeted based off your data. Like, how
Yeah.
do you think Facebook, Instagram, all these social media companies make money? How do you think they make money? They take what you look at every day from everywhere, they sell that data to companies who then target you with that information, right? That's the whole point of it. Same thing goes with like on Instagram. And I'm kind of going off topic here, but it kind of plays into the fact of getting followers, manipulating the algorithm. It's all of like I guarantee if I still had my Facebook and your Facebook and we compared each other's feeds, they would look
Yeah.
completely different because they're tailored to each and one of us, right? And what it does is it could, like the algorithm and the system, it knows to kind of feed those things. So we're talking about ego and social media, right? So say you have, I don't know, say you have just a extreme example, right? Say you're really big into smoking pot, right? And you're trying to quit and you're trying to quit. So you're going to get targeted with either one or two things. One, alternative use for marijuana, or two, rehab centers for marijuana. It's just going to continue to play on instead of being like, hey, I don't really need this anymore, and working through that yourself. It doesn't give you healthy ways to manage that uh that addiction, if you want to call it that. It's going to give you whatever is being sold at the time. I guess what I'm trying to say is if you have a skewed thought or if you have skewed way of thinking, Facebook, social media is not going to correct that skewed way of thinking. It's going to perpetuate it even further. It may take you down a road that you don't want to go, right? But I can tell you this, it's not going to help you.
No, it's not. And it's funny that you bring that up, man. I went out for a drink with a couple friends yesterday, and I was talking to these strangers, and they were talking about how TikTok can make, or social media, not just TikTok, but social media in general, can make you or break you. Look at the Coldplay incident.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter how much money you got. Once social media finds out who you are, what you do, bro, they're gonna put you on blast.
Yep.
And especially if you're not doing the
Yeah.
right thing, it's crazy, man. It's crazy.
Yep. Yeah.
But
I
yeah,
mean, so let's think about it in terms of our profession, right? And being in the military. If we had social media when I was coming up in the military, I probably wouldn't have made it to as far as I have. I'm going to be real, be honest with you. But there's so much out there that just highlights everything. And it doesn't even have to be, I mean, and realistically, the Coldplay incident, right, went viral. Is it that big of a deal? Does it have anything to do with us? The answer to that is no, it doesn't. What someone else's marital drama or whatever they're doing has nothing to do with me. It has nothing to do with you. But yet we will spend hours and minutes scrolling, creating memes, sharing these memes, spending all this engagement time around one video, right? And that's time you're never going to get back. So you just wasted countless hours on something that's nothing to do with you. And there we go. There is the inherent problem with social media in just a nutshell, right? So,
may I, Joey?
yeah, go ahead.
It's almost like we want to see people do less than us. We want to compare and contrast. We want to point the finger and say, "See, you shouldn't have done that." I
Mhm.
think one of Dr. Jordan Peterson's rules for 12 Rules for Life is set your house in perfect order before you criticize the world, right? I think that's one
Right.
of the rules. For me, who am I to criticize another person's relationship? Who am I to criticize another person's way of life when I know that my way of life, maybe there's some loose bolts around that I can tweak, that I can make
Hmm.
better. And it's just it goes to show that what you said about the incident, it's like people crave that drama. they can need it to stay alive. I know you read this book too a couple of times, like I did. Dramatic relationships, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's called The Power of Now. It talks about dramatic, how people need this drama in their life to make them feel alive and feel valued, just to go back in a toxic cycle and do it all over again.
Right.
And it's kind of like social media too, man. People are never going to post what's bad. It's always what's good. What's good?
Right.
What's happening? Look how much money. Look at these cars. Look at the materialism I have. But they never post about, oh man. And if they do, it's like validate me. Validate me
Right.
for what I'm going
Exactly.
through. Validate me because I feel a certain way. Validate me for put an example there yourself. I'm just saying, Joey, it's
Yeah.
crazy. Dare I say it's digital narcissism?
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting that, you know, when we talk about, like you were saying, people are so caught up in other people's drama. And let's be real. Be real and honest here, is that the reason most people, I don't want to speak for everybody, but I would speak for myself. Any reason why I was involved in someone's online drama was because I refused to face the drama going on in my own life. It was easier for me to get involved in somebody else's stuff than to actually sit down and say, hey, what am I doing wrong? And a lot of people refuse to do that. I did for a long time, and until like I realized that, you know, maybe I'm the problem. Come to find out, I was. I was literally the author of my own issues in my whole life. Like, yeah. I mean, obviously there's circumstances I can't control, but the ones I could have controlled were solely on me.
Yeah.
But again, you know, and I think it's in The Power of Now, or I think it's in there. But he briefly talks about how all of your mind obviously keeps you, you know, present in the past, or in the
Yeah.
past and the future. But you also, anytime you go to work on being in the present, your mind, your ego distracts you from doing that with social media, playing video games, doing things that you know that you really shouldn't be doing. And I'm not saying not to do those things or that they're bad. But what I'm saying is that when you have things that you need to face, inner work, things that you need to heal, those things aren't going to help you. They're not going to help you. And until you can come to terms with that, and some people go their whole lives without ever realizing that. But again, back to, that's why things go viral, because you have millions of people on these social media, and they think their opinions matter. They think all these viral things matter, but they really don't in the grand scheme of things. On a personal level, nothing on social media matters. All, at least to me, right? Can't speak for everyone
Yeah.
else, but you know, and people use the argument, well, it's a great way to stay in touch with friends and family, and like, okay, I can see that argument, but on the other hand, you know, it's kind of it's a big price to pay with all the other stuff. Like, you don't just get friends and family, you also get the toxic environment of the internet, right?
Yeah, the DMs, the
Yep.
DMs of people you don't want to get DMs from. It's crazy, man. Definitely. It's almost, you said earlier that people want to, instead of looking at them at their own life, they want to look at somebody else and point the finger like, look at them, they're messing up. They're going through the drama, not us. It's almost like a shadow work.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like a digital shadow work that you have to do. We talked about shadow work in episode 8, and how it's so
Yep.
hard for us to self-reflect and almost, I don't want to say put the blame on ourselves, but it's much easier to put the blame on another person than ourselves, because
Mm-hmm.
nobody wants to be the bad guy. Nobody wants to be the fault. But once we look
Right.
at ourselves deep inside, we'll be like, oh, dang, it is my fault, man.
Yeah.
And bro, I'll tell you, I was going through some stuff a couple months or month and some change ago, almost 2 months ago. But you know what? I self-reflected. I took a knee, for lack of better words. I took a knee,
Mm-hmm.
and you'll be surprised how, if you're authentic about it and say that I'm sorry and self-reflect on what you did or what happened, bro, saying I'm sorry or saying it's my fault or saying that I'll do better or saying that I'll look for help or whatever the case may be, you'd be surprised what it does. Instead of holding in resentment to where you put your business out there for the world to see,
Right.
just to get, like I told you earlier, just to get validation back. Like, oh man, it's not your fault. It's your significant other's fault. Oh, bro, for sure.
Right.
Go passport bros. But bro, there's always
Yeah.
gonna be two sides to the coin. and you're gonna see
Mm-hmm.
which friends are really your friends, and which friends are just there for the drama to see, like, oh, what's the next on the T? What's going on through the G's life, the Joey's life? Oh, I want to see.
Yeah.
They stick on there just to see you if you're failing or if you're doing better than them, or just to see the cheeseman, Joey. They want the cheeseman. That's what it is.
They
And
do.
you
Yeah,
know everything about the cheeseman, bro, because we talk about this.
I
But
do. I'm guilty as charged, but I'm working on that. I have made it a point of my life to not get involved with the cheese bay. I'm not perfect, obviously. I'm still a human being. I kind of there are times when I'm like, let me get that tea, but then I'm like, what, never mind. I don't want to know. It's just better that way for me. I don't worry about anything really. But
yeah.
you mentioned resentment, and it just kind of took me back to this post that I made on my social media page, right, for my podcast, No Longer Exists, RIP. But I think I think the quote went, "Resentment is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die." Right, and when you and it was I didn't realize how much truth that had in it when I started kind of looking at my own life. I'm like, man, I really don't like that person. Why? You know, and just kind of started digging deep. But when it comes to the again back to the social media aspect, is that uh, we can I don't want to say we as in me and you maybe I don't know, but for me I don't do this anymore. But you compare yourself to other people's you know uh, and I'm guilty of this, where I would see someone getting promoted to master sergeant. I'm over here all boo boo lip because obviously I didn't do the work, and I didn't get promoted, and I'm like, that sucks. That guy's a dirtbag, and he got promoted, and then you catch yourself spiraling down this just negativity, going down the wrong way, and it takes you back to that another quote is was it comparison is a thief of joy, and if you don't have social media, who are you going to compare yourself to? Your coworkers, okay, cool, but like, that's a smaller pool than a couple 100,000 people versus the 3 or 4 people that you work with. So I
I
think
got
it
an
it
alibi,
takes that
Joey.
negativity out of you. Yeah, go ahead, man.
Thank you. Who are you going to compare yourself to? I go back to the
Now,
12 rules. No, 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 no. I'm answering your question. Who are you going to compare yourself to, right? Another rule for the 12 rules for life from Dr. Jordan Peterson. It says compare yourself to who you were at yesterday, not to someone else's today.
right? It's very wise words from old Jordan Peterson there.
Yeah, bro, that book for real, it showed me a lot of things. It took the rose-colored glasses, and I'm like, oh man, it got deep into psychology and the way of how he
Mm-hmm.
thinks. It's great. I try, man. I like you said, just because I make this disclaimer, just because this is a personal growth podcast does not mean that I stop growing because I know all this stuff.
Right.
We don't, Joey. We continue growing. We're gonna
Yeah.
make mistakes. We're gonna fall to our knees, and you know what? We're gonna get back up and we're gonna learn from it. All right. Disclaimer out there. And again, this podcast is just people talking about their personal growth journey. It's nothing about advice or anything. If
Right.
you want to take it as that, cool. But this is just sharing information, man. And
Yeah.
sorry, Joey, I don't want to cut you off, bro. But you mentioned compare yourself, and it clicked in my head. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
that's one of the rules.
Yeah. No, I totally understand, man. And back to your comment of, yes, we're experiencing our personal growth and going through a journey. And one thing I'm learning about the journey is that I'm not really interested in the destination, right? Like a lot of people are. They get, oh man, I can't wait to get to this one point in my life. And they completely forget about the in between, the actual journey to get there. And and what I'll say is that I worked really, 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 really hard to get my degree, my bachelor's degree. Like I was putting in some work, like long hours, like I mean, I'm not bragging. I'm just stating a fact here. And once I earned my degree and I got that certificate in the mail and I put it on my STP for the Army, you know what happened about a week later?
What happened?
Nothing. Nothing happened. I was sad because I no longer had anything to work towards in college, right? And people will say, well, start your master's. You're right, I could. And I do plan on doing that. But once I had reached my destination, that was it, man. And what I failed to kind of realize was the journey from point A to point B and the in between. Personal growth, it's a journey, man, and you got to enjoy it, and however that looks. I will tell you, I will share that I've been where I'm at for about 3 months now. It's been 3 months.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
about
a little
three.
bit.
I'm going off 4 months. Yeah, and I have learned to, because here where I work, uh, I've learned the difference between being lonely and being alone, and there is a huge difference between the two. Like at first I was a little lonely, missing my family, of course, missing my kids and everyone I just left. Because I really loved the unit. I loved the people at the unit, not so much the unit, but I loved the people in the unit. Right, it was a great group of people I worked with. Then I started to just be alone because here I don't really interact with many people. I don't go out and do anything crazy. I don't go out anyways, actually. But sitting in my own, like, Saturdays here are just mind numbing. I just sit here. But when sitting in my solitude, is it solitude? Is that the right word? It doesn't matter. Sitting by myself, doing things by myself, being sitting in my own silence, really, really, really put things into perspective for me. I realized that I really didn't like myself as much as I had thought I liked myself, right? And the things that I did were very self-destructive. My mind, obviously, I've said it before on a couple episodes, your mind's not your friend. Mind was definitely not my friend. And I just learned to sit with myself and learn to be comfortable being alone. And again, back to one of the reasons why I deleted my social media was because, when I couldn't handle sitting just by myself and watching the world and, trying to be in the now, in the present moment, I caught myself wasting doom scrolling, I think is or brain rot is what the kids call it these days.
Mm.
Laying in my bed, spending 2 to 3 hours scrolling through shorts. And you got to think about it. We only have so much, our lifespans are around what, 80, 90 years. So you're thinking, like, I'll be 38 on Monday. So I'm like halfway there already, man. And I'm
Happy
wasting
pre-birthday,
precious
Joey.
moments. Oh, thank you. I'm wasting precious moments, man, looking at stuff that doesn't matter, that's not helping me, you know? And when I really took a look at that, it was disappointing. I was disappointed in myself, man. I was like, how could I waste so much time scrolling, looking at two dudes dig a hole in the ground in the jungle with two sticks, and like,
Yeah,
I could be doing so much, doing other things, reading a book, learning something new, enjoying what I have now, because not promised tomorrow, man. We're not promised the next 30 minutes.
no, we're
So it's
not.
kind of, and social media, I feel, takes that away from people,
I agree.
right? It really does. And it's sad,
And
but,
not to be
you know,
not to be hypocritical, Joey, but after all the editing in this episode, we're gonna post it on social media. This is gonna go on YouTube, but
yeah,
I don't think we're looking for validation. I don't think we're looking for likes. I guess, for lack of better words, I'll shoot myself in the foot on this one. We were talking about earlier about how people post they give money to the less needy or food or whatever. Well,
yeah,
this is not money. This is not food. This is just, I guess, two people talking about their personal growth journey, and then the people can resonate with it.
yeah,
Maybe they can take a couple things from it. You know.
yeah. I know it sounds hypocritical that you're probably going to post this on some social media form or a social media platform, but I think it's uh, the content that you're consuming, right? If it's this content that can help somebody, can guide somebody to be a better version of themselves, sure, why not, right? Or is this content that's gonna, you know, make you worse, right? That's
Yeah.
how I look at it. And unfortunately, my social media was just infiltrated, and it would have taken me more time to unfollow and delete this and delete that, and it just wasn't. I just didn't want to go through it, so I just got rid of it, right? But because I watch a lot of YouTube. I watch a lot of videos that are personal growth, the 5 things you can do to raise your vibration, meditation techniques, things that will improve your life, right? Learning about your chakras. Thanks, man. Appreciate that. Just things of that nature. I personally don't see anything wrong with it because it's making me a better version of myself, if I put in the
Yeah.
work. But so is it hypocritical? For me, no, it's not. I think the message is is, be careful with your social media, understand what it is and what it isn't, and
Thanks, Joey.
participate in healthy,
Conversations.
what's the word I'm looking for? Healthy conversations. Yeah, consume in a manageable manner. You know,
Yeah.
things like that.
Oh,
So,
yeah, absolutely. And to caveat off everything we just said, Joey, I hope you don't mind me sharing. It was a book recommended by you a while back before you left, and I'm like, I'm gonna read it. I was going through some stuff, like I mentioned previous, like two months ago. I'm like, I'm gonna read
mhm,
this book. I haven't read a book on this type of subject and how it can change my life and stuff. And the book I'm referring to is The Let Them Theory, right? You recommended this book. Absolutely recommend it. Basically, Mel Robbins is the author, and it basically entails that you can only control what you can control. You can control yourself. You can't control other people.
mhm.
I think just to share a quick notion on it, in the book, she mentioned that she was going to prom. She was getting her children ready for prom, one of her children ready for prom, and something about a crochet or not a crochet, a flower, I forgot what it's called, but he or she didn't want it.
That's right.
But she,
Yeah.
thank you. And basically, she kind of forced her child to have it on them, and
Hmm.
it kind of ruined the whole vibe. And it's like, I told you I didn't need it, and she didn't
Right.
realize, like, if they don't want it, let them not want it. But let me
Yep.
understand that they don't want it either. Let them, but it's also let me. So it kind of
Hmm.
made me understand that
Yeah.
we can't please everybody, Joey, and we're never going to. There's always going to be somebody that's
That's right.
left jaded, and it's not our job to make amends with everybody that feels a certain way because we said something or maybe we left off on a
Right.
wrong foot. But we can control ourselves and say, you know what, you're toxic, or you know what, I can love you from afar. I respect you, but let me respect myself too. Let them do
Right.
them, but let me do me in a way. But I love the Joey.
Yeah.
Thank you for the recommendation.
I know you've already read this book, but maybe some of your viewers haven't. And I'm about halfway through it, but I would tell you the first half that I've read already is pretty phenomenal, right? You recognize this one, buddy?
Yep, I do. I do. Good.
The Untethered Soul. It's pretty good.
By by Michael Singer.
Yeah, it's by Michael Singer. Yep. It's really great. Like, I would say if you've read The Power of Now, it's very comparable, maybe even a little bit easier to digest. And just the overall theme of the book is amazing. Like I said, I haven't finished it yet, but I'm working my way through it, and it's definitely helping me look at things a lot differently. So you combine all these tools together. Yeah, you got to think of these books as tools, right? They're not the end all be all, right? Obviously, you can apply these principles and concepts to your life in many different ways, but
Yeah.
they're merely tools at your disposal to, again, apply to how whatever's going on in your life at the current moment. But anyways, I digress. Good book. Check it out if you like it, or don't want to
Thank you,
check it
Joey.
out.
Appreciate it.
Well,
Let me
not you.
know.
I know you got it. You know,
let let me know when you get to the chapter of the samskaras.
some star is what chapter is
Yeah,
that? Let's see.
you'll
Take a look.
see. You'll see. I think it's closer to the end, a little bit closer to the end, but it's a good chapter. Joey, I can't thank you enough for being on here, bro. Thank you for making the first appearance on season 2. You've been on
Yeah.
here. You've been on this platform, this podcast, this interview process where we conversate back and forth 3 times.
3 times.
And yeah, 3 times, man. So I look forward to having you on plenty more times. If someone bails on me, which has happened before, hey, bro, I know that you'll
Yeah.
take the reins and we'll talk about whatever we need to talk about. And
Yep.
again,
I'm
Joey,
here for you, man.
appreciate you, bro.
Coach.
Yeah,
All right, man.
I can't thank you enough, Joey. And stay safe out there. Godspeed, and let me know when you get back.
All right, man. We'll do.